Hey friends, so I just wanted to share a little bit about how I edit my images. I have 5 raw files over here and a before and after screen so that you can look at the before as well as the after as to how the images look like once the presets apply. And all 5 of these images over here are with different lighting styles, just different lighting conditions indoor as well as outdoors. They are, we have a little bit of golden light, we have a little bit of some nice textures in the background, some pocket of light in here, as well as some haze and some golden light. So it's a really nice variety to look at as to how these presets work on all of these different conditions. So first I have this image over here. The first thing I'm going to do is quickly just straighten this image. Okay. That's good. All right. Okay. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a preset over here. So I think I'm going to go with the Terra Light, and we'll see what it'll do. It'll add a little bit of that moodiness, a little bit of that shadows, bring out some shadows in the image as well. But I'm going to increase a little bit of the exposure throughout. So as you can see, the highlights are kind of just coming back. The next thing what I'm going to do for this particular image is just select the subject. So Lightroom, with all of these beautiful, amazing updates, it's become really super easy to do selective edits on your subject or sky or your background or anything that you have in the image. You can select that or you can invert that as well. And it's just really super cool. So I'm just going to select the subject over here just to add a bit more highlights for her dress. As you can see, I don't want to overdo it because then it does not look natural. Okay, and then I'm just going to increase the warmth over there just a little bit because the dress is picking up some color from the background. Okay, so that's great. I'm going to do done. And the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of light, brush some light back on her face. I'm going to increase that. And I'm going to increase some warmth in there, and I'm going to add some magenta there as well. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. Okay, and then that's about it. So once I am done with this image, I can just take it to either Photoshop or I could use the spot removal brush here just to delete these additional things that I don't want in the background. But pretty much just super easy. You can play around with the temperature, the tint, or the exposure just to adjust the image as to how you like to typically shoot. These presets really work amazing when you underexpose your image just by a little, like just by say half a stop. They just really give you the best results because they help you to bring out the shadows, deepen the shadows, and make the colors just really pop and stand out. Okay, so this image was indoor, but I'm going to reduce the temperature there just for a little bit. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit on the crop and just straighten the image just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to hit done. Okay, we'll go to the before after view over here. And for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the preset Dew. Dew is absolutely amazing for skin tones and it's just one of my favorite presets. Let's actually go to the full view and then we'll go back to the before after just in a little bit. Okay, so it's all right. So there we go. That's perfect. I'm just going to increase the magenta just a little bit. Okay, so that's perfect. I don't want to increase the overall exposure here because that just increases the exposure throughout, and I'm just going to select the subject here again. So that way I can just selectively adjust the exposure or anything else I want for my subject. That usually just takes a little while, and my computer is slow. Okay, so that's that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase the exposure. Okay, so that's beautiful. All right, okay, so I'm just going to go okay. And that's about it. So I don't really have to do anything else over here. I can increase perhaps the overall exposure just a little bit. Okay, and maybe that's a bit too much. I'm just going to bring it down. Just going to make it 0.10. Okay, and that's it. So it's just really super easy to manipulate your white balance settings as well as the exposure settings as and when needed. So we'll go to this next image. This one has a little bit of some light haze, and it was shot during the golden hour, and plus you see a little bit of some really nice light patterns going, some rim light in here on her hair. What I'm going to do is for this one, I kind of just want her to pop a little bit. So I'm going to use the preset Terra Rain. The rain is adds a bit more of contrast to the image, and I'm going to increase I do like my images to be slightly on the warmer side. So I'm just going to increase the warmth there just a little bit and increase my exposure that's too much. So I'm just going to increase that a little bit. And really that's about it. So I may just take a brush and brush down a little bit of exposure on her dress over here. And pretty much that's it. Something else I wanted to mention is a lot of the presets have some grain in them. And I really like to use grain, especially to make the skin to be as realistic as possible. And if you are not a fan of grain, you can always just turn it off. So that's super easy as well. Okay, going on to the next one. So this image, you see some, it's shot indoors, some really nice colors in there. This is the raw file. I think I'm going to go with either the fire. So this looks beautiful. We could also try a black and white preset for this and see how this one turns out. I really like the storm. I think the dust here will be beautiful too. We can also try the color preset, the winter. Oh, I love this winter one. So I think we can go with this one. And I'm just going to go up and increase my warmth again just a little bit. Okay, so that's beautiful. And then the other thing I would do is just take a brush and add a little bit of exposure on certain areas of the image. So like such as her hand perhaps, and then just a little bit of exposure on this side, and then perhaps this side and the handbag. And I'm also going to increase the magenta a little bit while that is selected, and that's it. So that's really super easy, and it really just kept the skin intact. The colors are super nice, as well as the yellow is still intact. So I just really love how your colors are still popping, as well as your skin tones are maintained as well. So I'm going to keep this to so this is the raw file. I think for this one, let's go with either the fire or the fall. Let's click on the fall and see what this one does. Okay, I love this one. I think I'm actually going to go, let's look at the fire as well. I think my computer is a little slow. Okay, let's go back to fall. Okay, so I'm just going to click on before after so you can see the changes. All right, okay, so I love how the colors are still rendered beautifully. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to increase my pinks just a little bit here, and I'm going to increase my warmth again just a little bit. And also I am here going to do a little bit of selective brush exposure. So I'm just going to increase some exposure back only on her, not anywhere else in my background. And so just on her, just to make her pop a little bit with all these beautiful colors that she has. I'm going to increase the contrast. I'm going to increase the magenta on her just a little bit too. Okay, very, very little. That's just a really subtle increase there. And that's it. So I love how the colors are just so beautiful, and the skin is just really nicely maintained, and I just love how it just helps bring back the drama, the light, and all of that, and keeping the skin tones intact as well. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you.